You're now watching Global Watch. Now let's turn to India, where the country is celebrating its 73rd Independence Day today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has delivered a speech at the Red Fort in New Delhi. And Modi defended his decision over the removal of Article 370, saying it will greatly help the people of Jammu and Kashmir. This article in the Indian constitution gave special status to the region, allowing for separate constitutions, state flags and autonomy. This is his sixth address to the nation as the Prime Minister since the Bharatiya Janata Party-led National Democratic Alliance came to power in 2014. It is also the first Independence Day celebration since India's decision to scrap the disputed region's special status.
Tens of thousands.
As India marks 72 years since independence, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke about the Jammu and Kashmir region. He said revoking special status for the region is a bid to wipe out corruption, nepotism and injustice in the disputed territory. Neha Punya has more from New Delhi.
All eyes were on how Prime Minister Modi would speak of Kashmir, where the Indian government revoked a special status last week, stripping the region of the ability to make its own laws. Prime Minister Modi was quick to mention the revocation of Article 370, saying barely 10 weeks after his government was re-elected, they had delivered on their election promise of giving Delhi increased control of the region. Mr. Modi said that his government had the political conviction to right a 7-decade-old wrong in Kashmir that prevented the region's integration with the rest of the country.
Thousands of people gathered at Delhi's Red Fort. Millions listened at home and watched television, all waiting to hear the words of Narendra Modi on Independence Day. And for Indian nationalists, he did not disappoint. He said his decision to strip Indian-administered Kashmir of its special status was a major achievement and it would restore the region to its past glory. Mr. Modi did not refer to the lockdown and communications blackout imposed in Kashmir since his decision 11 days ago. Let's have a listen.
It is our duty to fulfill the wishes and aspirations of the people of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. It's our responsibility that their dreams are fulfilled, and the 1.3 billion people of India have to work towards that. In order to achieve that goal, whatever obstacles came in the way, we have tried to remove.
Well, the decision to revoke Kashmir's autonomy has been criticised by a number of Indian opposition leaders and activists and by neighbouring Pakistan. The disputed territory has been in lockdown since Delhi's decision. Hundreds of people remain in detention as well. Shortly after his speech, the Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan posted a tweet urging the international community to act on the Kashmir issue. He wrote, "I want to warn the international community, if it allows this to happen, it will have severe repercussions and reactions in the Muslim world, setting off radicalisation and cycles of violence." We've got correspondents covering the story from both sides of the border. Let's take you to Rahul Tandon, who is in Delhi for us, Secunda Kamani, who is in Islamabad. Firstly, Rahul, listening to his speech today on India's Independence Day, what is the most significant thing you feel Narendra Modi had to say?
I think the most significant thing was what Mr. Narendra Modi didn't say. He got up at around 7:30 in the morning and started his speech, and he finished it 92 minutes later. In that 92 minutes, he never referred to Pakistan, and he never referred to their Prime Minister, Imran Khan. Contrast to the speech yesterday by the Pakistani Prime Minister, which was full of comments about India and its Prime Minister. And I think it shows you India's position here. They say it's an internal matter, and they are not going to respond to comments that are coming from across the border. He played to the Indian people. Mr. Modi is a brilliant orator in Hindi, and he once again portrayed that strong man message that has won him the election and has made him the most popular politician in generations, basically saying, I have the guts to take decisions that others have not been able to take for 70 years. He said autonomy had been a mistake for Indian-administered Kashmir and had led to nothing but nepotism and corruption. It's a speech that'll go well with his fan base. Within Indian-administered Kashmir, we're back with that same problem, Lucy. Very difficult to communicate with people. The roadblocks still in place, the internet cut off, no phone lines. What did they make of it? We don't know.
Secunda, in terms of what people are making of it, a quick tweet from Imran Khan after the speech. Tell us more about what he's said and the feelings in Pakistan today.
Well, there hasn't been a great deal of coverage of Narendra Modi's speech today in Pakistan. Just as I understand from Rahul, there wasn't a great deal of coverage in India of Prime Minister Imran Khan's speech yesterday in Pakistan-administered Kashmir. But certainly there's a rising anger here in Pakistan about Indian activities in Indian-administered Kashmir. Generations of Pakistanis have grown up believing that all of Kashmir should be part of Pakistan, or at least should be independent from India. Today, Pakistani authorities have called on people to carry out protests and demonstrations in cities across Pakistan, commemorating Indian Independence Day as a Black Day. And there's been some good news for the Pakistani authorities as they would see it. There are currently reports that the United Nations Security Council will hold a closed-door meeting tomorrow to discuss Kashmir. Now, that's not been officially confirmed to the BBC yet, but if it does go ahead, it will be seen as a vindication of Pakistan's position that, or Pakistani attempts, I should say, to try and internationalize this issue. They've been trying to galvanize international opinion against what India has been doing in Kashmir. Imran Khan has been repeatedly comparing the ideology behind Narendra Modi's BJP ruling party in India to the ideology of the Nazi party. Today, in his tweet, as you say, Imran Khan raised the prospect of ethnic cleansing or ethnic-related massacre, as happened in Srebrenica. So what we're seeing from the Pakistani authorities is an attempt really to try and capture the world's attention and try and force the United Nations perhaps to intervene in some way.
Secunda, good to see you. Rahul as well. Thank you for joining us from Delhi and from Islamabad.
More on this story with Nimisha Jaiswal, our correspondent in Delhi. Hi, Nimisha. Good to see you. So Modi gave a speech today to mark Independence Day. He said that he wants to restore Kashmir's past glory. What did he mean by that?
Well, so Prime Minister Narendra Modi has once again reiterated that the last 70 years of this special status being in place has actually been detrimental to Kashmir. In a speech he made a few days ago as well, he talked about how it's responsibility for Indians to make sure that Kashmiris can now participate in India's development trajectory. And this is the point he reiterated today as well in his speeches. He said that Indians should feel proud that we are finally one nation, one constitution, referring to the fact that the Indian constitution did not apply to Kashmir in its entirety because of the special status. So this former glory he refers to is a reiteration of this point he's making, and which his entire government has been making, that the people of Kashmir should finally have access to the opportunities, the development, the growth trajectory that the rest of India does. But of course, this in the midst of an unprecedented, near complete communications blackout in the valley itself.
Tell us more about that blackout and what's been happening during this time in Kashmir.
Well, so the state of Jammu and Kashmir has been divided into two parts, and in some parts the communications blackout has been lifted, but in the most restive part of the state, the valley of Kashmir, the communication blackout persists. It's now in its 11th day that the people of Kashmir not only have no internet access, they also have no phone connectivity, and they actually have to line up for hours to make a call for a few minutes to their loved ones outside of the state. The state's justification, the government's justification for this communication blackout is to ensure that peace is maintained. There's also been a massive military deployment on the ground, more than what is usually out there, to make sure that there's no protests. Some protests, however, have broken out. We're hearing these from media reports. There is, of course, the government pushing back, saying many of these reports are not true. But the valley continues to be in shutdown, and we are still waiting to hear completely freely what the residents of Kashmir really think about this abrogation.
Nimisha, just very briefly, if you can, Pakistan is furious, is now appealing to the United Nations Security Council to address India's actions. Can international mediation help diffuse tensions between Pakistan and India?
Well, Sumi, I'm afraid the short answer is no. The UN and the US have weighed in, asking both countries to exercise restraint, but also do this through dialogue. Pakistan's foreign minister himself a couple of days ago said, don't expect the international community to intervene. But of course, Pakistan continues trying to internationalize the issue and hopes that there will be intervention. However, because of economic interests in India's 1 billion strong population, this seems very unlikely.
All right, our correspondent Nimisha Jaiswal reporting there in Delhi. Thank you very much.